What's up, family? Chicago did not come to play. Chris Brown and Usher just took over Soldier Field for 2 straight nights, and from everything that went down inside that stadium, I already know the people who stayed home are sitting somewhere with serious FOMO right now. Because we're talking packed stands, fans turning the parking lot into their own concert, Chris Brown pulling off a move that had everybody screaming, Usher coming right back with that effortless superstar energy, and then, just when we thought these two had already given Chicago everything, Mario, Tank, and Eric Bellinger showed up and took the whole thing to another level. But honestly, the funniest moment of the weekend might have been the battle between Chris and Usher, because the way these two played off each other, I was not ready. And let me tell you, before Chris Brown and Usher even stepped onto that stage, Chicago was already giving us a show. I'm talking about the fans outside Soldier Field, because they understood the assignment from the second they left the house. The fashion was given straight up early, 2000s R&B, nostalgia, baggy jeans, oversized sunglasses, vintage leather jackets, and people looking like they had just walked out of a music video from the golden era. But that wasn't even the funniest part. The parking lot had basically turned into a warm-up concert. People were singing their favorite Usher songs, trying to recreate those famous vocals. And I'm sorry, but some of those attempts had me crying. You had grown men out there, reaching for Usher's falsetto and realizing halfway through the note that maybe they should have left that one to the professionals. And then the gates opened. Once everybody got inside, the entire atmosphere changed. You could literally feel the anticipation building because Chicago knew what was coming. 2 nights, 2 legends, 1 massive stage. And with Chris Brown and Usher sharing the spotlight, there was always the question of who was going to have that moment everybody would be talking about afterward. Well, we got our answer. Because Chris Brown came out and reminded everybody exactly why his live performances have become such a spectacle. The dancing, the precision, the energy. It was one of those moments where you almost forget you're watching a real person because the choreography is moving so fast. And then came the dance-off. Now, I need y'all to picture this. Chris Brown hits a flawless backflip, and the crowd absolutely erupts. Everybody is expecting Usher to respond with something equally insane. But Usher basically said, I don't have to do all that. Instead, he smoothly got into his signature roller skates and glided right past Chris with that legendary bruh energy. I'm telling you, the crowd lost it. And that moment perfectly captured what makes this tour so entertaining. It doesn't feel like 2 artists competing to prove who is better. It feels like 2 icons who know exactly what the other person can do and are having fun with it. But that's not even the craziest part. Because once the performances kept building, Chicago got hit with another surprise. Mario, Tank, and Eric Bellinger joined the madness. And suddenly, Soldier Field wasn't just a concert anymore. It felt like one giant R&B reunion. People were singing, screaming, dancing in the aisles. Some were probably sending dangerous text messages to old situationships they had no business contacting. And honestly, that's the power of nights like this. These songs aren't just songs, they're memories. They take people straight back to different relationships, different eras, different versions of themselves. So when Chris Brown and Usher brought that energy to Chicago for 2 nights, they weren't just performing hits, they were bringing an entire generation together. And now I have to ask you, if you were in Soldier Field, what was the one moment that had you completely losing it? Because Chicago definitely got its money's worth. Now, enough talking. Turn that volume up, get comfortable, and let's get into the wildest moments from Chris Brown and Usher's Chicago takeover.
You beg when you say I've been stop tripping to break a neck until you let me know you come crying to break my throat and chase you down the street. It's not you, it's my own insecurity. You say love you, Shanta. Let me get you straight. She found on the notice I had in my car. Say what? She called on the ones I had not criticized. Say what? I'm racing over to keep my faith. Say what? She saw with me instead of closing my face. Better tell me why. Doing wrong. Keep it on. You can feel me. Let me see the hands up. Telling the lie. You know. Seeing the ground. You can feel me in the hands up in the sky. Let me hear you say. Chicago, make some more noise for Jake.
Sometimes you gotta go through something to get to something. The truth is the only thing that sets you free. Every time I was in LA, I was with my ex-girlfriend. Every time you thought I told you, baby, I'm working. I was out to work my dirt. Don't think about you. You see me so wrong. I'm acting like I didn't ever sit down. Thinking about me. Making it good, I don't believe I could bear. I'm never gonna do the things I'm about to tell you all I've done. Praise yourself, it ain't good. Even the worst if you heard this from somebody else. I want everybody in the house to put one hand in the air right now. Drop it. She on the side, said she got one on the way. So my confession, man, I'm broke. I don't know what to do. Guess I gotta get off to my confession. If I'm gonna tell it, then I gotta tell it all. Damn, they cried when I got that phone call. I'm so broke, I don't know what to do, but to get off to my confession. You know, this thing I think I ever had to do. Got me talking to myself, asking how I'm going to live. But that shit won't quite run out too short. I was creeping with she said she's 3 months pregnant and she's eating it. The first thing that came to mind was you. Second thing was how do I know it is mine? Is it true? Third, you know we had to do it twice, right, Shot-Town? Yeah. Hope that you find when I know it. You're missing like true, let's see you out to see you. The Saturday in patrol, and it's gonna be on. Yeah, we got way too crowded. I'm about to win the feel the melody, you feel around you. It's like Time